Turning the water in the Nile to blood begins the famous plagues sent of God. The Lord speaks to Moses about the hard heart of the Pharaoh and instructs him to go back to the Pharaoh and release his first judgment against Egypt as a result.
So Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them. As Pharaoh and all of his officials watched, Aaron raised his staff and struck the water of the Nile. Suddenly, the whole river turned to blood. The fish in the river died, and the water became so foul that the Egyptians couldn't drink it. There was blood everywhere throughout the land of Egypt.
Moses tells Aaron to take the staff and stretch out his hand over all the waters of Egypt, as God instructs. And the water turns to blood. Everything God said would happen does.
But again, the magicians of Egypt used their magic, and they too turned water into blood. So Pharaoh's heart remained hard. He refused to listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had predicted. Pharaoh returned to his palace and put the whole thing out of his mind. Then all the Egyptians dug along the river bank to find drinking water, for they couldn't drink the water from the Nile.
Those same Egyptian magicians are able to do the same thing by their dark arts. So the Pharaoh ignores what God has just done and heads into his palace with his heart hardened, while his people have to dig for clean water to drink. A hard heart will see what it chooses to see, and a hard heart takes a perspective that justifies their behavior and their wants, blinding them more and more and preventing them from seeing the harm they are doing as a result. Have you found yourself working out of pride or a self-inflated ego within a situation where you were only being damaging and hurtful to others?
And has your pride ever blinded you to reality, keeping you from seeing what was really taking place and seeing what you wanted instead? Has it allowed your ears to hear a different story because the truth was not what you wanted? Ego is a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance. But when that gets inflated, it can be harmful to relationships around us.
A big ego lacks self-awareness, humility, remaining teachable, and it is usually a mask covering up a lot of insecurities. It makes me wonder what real fears and insecurities this king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, has that he has to continue to mask with his pride and self-inflated ego. How can we prevent or grow out of this behavior of this type of pride? And how will we guard ourselves against this ego-inflated trap? Choosing humility over pride and kindness over an inflated ego is a great start. Individuals who walk in humility are teachable, self-aware, empathetic towards others, and they often put the needs of others before themselves. They live a selfless life, know their value and worth, and don't have a need to pump up their own ego by harming others around them.